And here we go. What's up, Packer fans? Back again. Here we are for the 2025 NFL season, week one of the Packers NFL season. A lot of changes kind of since the last video. Micah Parsons is in town as a Green Bay Packer. Practice with Green Bay. Should play against the Lions on Sunday. That does mean, though, that Kenny Clark, 10-year vet, we drafted him when he was like 20 years old out of UCLA, been a Packer his entire career, traded to Dallas. Sad to see him go. It is a Packer move, though, trading a guy or releasing a guy a year early rather than a year late. And for Kenny, you know, his production has been down. I know they said he was injured a little bit last year, and he might have something to prove this year, but I feel like it's a good move for the Packers. Obviously, bringing Micah Parsons in changes the dynamic of this Packers defense. But let's get to it. Week one, the Packers, the Lions at Lambeau Field, 3:25 on Sunday. The Packers have not had a lot of success against the Lions the last few years. I know that Jordan Love's only won one game against the Lions in his entire career, and LaFleur has not had a lot of success, and we've lost the last four, I think, in a row against the Lions. So definitely a big game for the first Packer game at Lambeau Field for Matt LaFleur to start a season in his tenure. And for Green Bay, it's going to come down to, can we sustain something on offense? Can we stop the Detroit offense on defense? They went for it on fourth down like 6 times in the 2 games last year, and pretty much came away winning that last game because of all the fourth down attempts and conversions for the Lions. So for the Packers, it's going to be, can we contain Jared Goff? Can we get after him with that tough Detroit offensive line? Can we make some waves with Micah Parsons, with Rashawn Gary, with some of the blitz packages with Edgerrin Cooper and Quay Walker? It'll be really exciting to see kind of what they do with these guys who are so athletic and quick and fast, and just the need more of the instincts and just, you know, play fast. So I'm excited to see what happens, but Jared Goff obviously going to get the start. He's a guy that if you give him time, he can destroy you. He had a game where he pretty much was perfect in the entire game, so he's a guy that if you let him sit back there, he can pick you apart. And obviously he's got Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's a great receiver. He'll be looking for another 100-catch, 1,000-yard season this year. And then they have, obviously, the speedster, Jameson Williams. I like him a lot. I think he's going to kind of come more into that number 2 wide receiver role, really kind of play not just the deep ball guy, but play pretty much everywhere. And then they have Khalif Raymond, a guy who's kind of a speedster, punt return type guy, but he's been on the roster for a few years now. The Packers know him well. And then they drafted the wide receiver from Isaac Tesla. And so he's had a big splash in preseason, but for a rookie to come in and kind of make some waves is difficult. Obviously, we've seen it over the last couple of years. This guy was a top prospect, but not one of the top prospects at wide receiver. So, but he just, you know, he had a good preseason, so we'll see what he can do. Hopefully, the Packers can lock him up. But for the Detroit Lions, the biggest part of their offense is the running game. Obviously, behind Taylor Decker at offensive line, he is banged up a little bit. And then Graham Glasgow, he moved from guard to center. And then, of course, Penei Sewell at right tackle. This guy is probably the best in the league at right tackle. So for the Packers, a little bit different offensive lineman going up against the Lions. They do have a new offensive coordinator. They do have a new defensive coordinator. So some changes for the Lions, but they are coming off of 15 wins last year. And with guys like David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, I feel like after like a 16 touchdown season last year, he's going to kind of explode onto the scene this year. David Montgomery, obviously a really good number 2 guy, power back, you know, kind of short yardage type situations. But Jahmyr Gibbs is just a game breaker, and the Packers really have to do what they can to kind of bottle him up and lock him up. So it'll be interesting to see how they kind of play that. And then obviously for the Packers, just, you know, getting pressure, tackling, making sure that they're doing their fundamentals. The defense obviously going to look a little bit different for Green Bay going up against this offensive line. We have Nazir Stackhouse, undrafted free agent rookie out of Georgia, who made the team. Obviously, Kenny Clark is gone. Devontae Wyatt, hopefully he can step up. He was really having a big year before he got hurt last year. And then we have guys like Colby Wooden and Carl Brooks and Brinson, who bring something to the table. I liked what I've seen out of Colby Wooden and Carl Brooks the last few years. They really play well when they have their chances. So to give them a little more opportunity will be interesting to see. Will we have enough big bodies down in the middle to kind of stop the run? Obviously, there's a lot of people talking about just running at Micah Parsons, which is why the Dallas Cowboys defense and rush defense sucked so much last year. I can't just blame it all on Micah. Obviously, there's 10 other guys that could have stopped the run as well. But point of attack type things, Packers hopefully can kind of adjust to that. I don't think it's going to be a major issue. We have a lot of players that can make up for maybe Micah's little inadequacies in the run game. But I'm excited to see with this defensive line now with Rashawn Gary and Lucas Van Ness and, Micah Parsons, and then see what Devontae Wyatt can do. Bring in Brenton Cox, who I like a lot. JJ Kingsley Enagbare, bring something to the table as well. And just to kind of see what they can do. And then obviously, like I said, with Edgerrin Cooper and Quay Walker kind of handling that middle of the defense, they're sideline to sideline so quick, and now kind of building those instincts. Year 2 for Edge, and I think year 4 for Quay. So these guys are really starting to come into their own. It'll be exciting to see how they kind of fare against this really good Detroit offense. And then on the defensive side of the ball, the Detroit Lions are getting Aiden Hutchinson back. He had a season-ending injury last year. He had like 12 sacks through the first, or 7 sacks through the first 5 games. Micah had 12 sacks, but so they both kind of got injured with a season that they could have had a little bit better. But Aiden looking to come back, probably would have been Defensive Player of the Year if he would have continued that arc he was on. And for the Packers, it's going to come down to shutting him down. Can they do it with the offensive line? Obviously, Rasheed Walker playing left tackle and Zach Tom playing right tackle. We'll probably see Aiden Hutchinson the most, but they do move him around on that defensive line. Their big guy, Iliam McNeil, is out. He will not play. They do have DJ Reader, who's another big run stuffer. They have a rookie, Talik Williams, who will play a little bit. And then Marcus Davenport, a guy that got drafted by the Saints. I think the Packers even traded that pick that the Saints used, or maybe he got picked right before the Packers did that year. I just remember seeing that name on the scouting report, a guy that can play really well, but hasn't done a lot from where he was drafted. So we'll see what the Lions can do with Davenport, see how the Packers can lock him up and make sure he doesn't disrupt the game too much. At linebacker, they have Alex Anzalone, and Jack Campbell, who I really like as well. So can we get something going in the run game? Can we set up that play action? Can the receivers start catching the ball and start making some plays? I think Matthew Golden's going to come out and be a really big part of this offense for Green Bay. Just having a guy that can run the way he can and shows the catching ability that he's shown so far, it's going to make it interesting. But for the Packers, can we get the run game going, kind of set everything else up, and that's where these linebackers come in. They do have Derek Barnes, who's coming back, so a guy that can also come off the edge and play linebacker. So that's a lot going on for the Detroit defense, but they did lose Aaron Glenn as their defensive coordinator, a guy who I really liked as a player, liked as a coach, and now he's the head coach in New York. So we'll see what the defense looks like. We'll see what the offense looks like. Like I said, a lot of changes. Then at DB for the Lions, they have Terrion Arnold, who is questionable. He's got a hamstring going. Brian Branch, who's a safety who can just play all over the field. He's a guy that's kind of given the Packers nightmares recently, along with Kirby Joseph, another safety for the Lions. He led the league with 9 interceptions. I know X had 8, but Kirby beat him, and he is a ball hawk. I think he's the one that had the pick 6 in the Packers game at Lambeau against the Lions last year. So looking to stop him. And the Lions brought in DJ Reed from New York, the cornerback, to play opposite of Terrion Arnold. They do have Amik Robertson as well at the nickel, and that the Rakestraw, the rookie from last year, is injured. So we'll see what the DBs look like on the back end. Obviously, losing Aaron Glenn, I think, is going to be a big piece of this. Not everybody's talking about that, but I think this defense will look a little bit different. The offense will look different without Ben Johnson. Obviously, he's the coach in Chicago. So for the Packers, can we shut down Goff? Can we slow down this offense? And can we shut down some of that run game and some of that pass game with Amon St. Brown and not letting any big plays with Jameson Williams? For the Packers, though, obviously Jordan Love getting a start. Malik Willis might get a few packages, hearing some things. I really don't like pulling Love out ever, even in situational spots. I just prefer to have Love in there, but Malik does bring a little aspect that Love doesn't with the run game. But I feel like if you bring him in, everybody knows it's going to be a run, and they can kind of queue up on that. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, for the Packers, running back Josh Jacobs looking to have another big year, looking to hopefully get over the 1,400-yard mark, maybe even more. He said he left a lot on the table last year, and so we'll see what he can do this year. And then bringing in Emmanuel Wilson and Chris Brooks until Marshawn Lloyd comes back from injury. Hopefully Marshawn can play at some point, but Emmanuel Wilson had over 500 yards rushing as the backup to Josh Jacobs, and Chris Brooks is a guy that can do it all. So I'm excited to see what he brings as well. But Packers really need to get the run game going early, set up the play action, and then the receivers have to do what they do, obviously. But starting at right tackle is going to be Rasheed Walker. It looks like left guard is probably going to be Jordan Morgan, and then center is Elkin Jenkins. Right guard will be Sean Ryan, and right tackle will be Zach Tom. Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgraves. I'm so excited to see what they can do on the outside. Tucker's looking to be the best tight end in the league, and Luke could just be a really good seam threat and a guy that's a big body. He's like 6'6". He can run, and so just getting the ball in his hands and seeing what he can do will be exciting. And then obviously Tucker Kraft, just we know what he can do yards after the catch. We know what he does in the blocking game. He's an all-around complete tight end, and it's going to be exciting to see what he does this season. So for Jordan Love, who is going to be the number one receiver? Is it going to be Tucker Kraft? Is it going to be one of these guys, Matthew Golden, Dontavian Wicks, Romeo Doubs, or Jaden Reed? Jaden Reed's kind of becoming the forgotten man. He's been injured a little bit, so is Wicks, but I think that Reed, after being poised to have a really good year last year, started off hot and then slowed down. I think he's looking to have a bounce back year and have a good season. Just consistency. And then Dontavian Wicks, if he can just catch the ball, this guy's got the wiggle, the route running. They were comparing him to Devontae Adams when he came in, kind of the height, 6'1", and all those things, and just the ability to move and catch the ball. So we'll see if he can start holding on to it. I know they kind of compared him to that based on that, but he hasn't been able to catch very well the last two seasons. So we'll see what he can do, kind of bounce back. I'm thinking that Goody's looking for kind of the receivers to rise to the top. They don't want to trade him. They didn't give him away in the Parsons trade. I thought we would lose a receiver in one of the trades like that. I thought maybe they'd get cut or go on to a different team, because there are a lot of teams that need receivers, and the Packers are kind of hoarding them. But I think they're going to try to see who rises to the top. Again, I think Matthew Golden's going to be a guy that really steps up and plays big time for the Packers. Romeo Doubs, I'm looking for him to have another consistent season, just keep the numbers up, stay healthy. That was a big issue last year for him. And then, we'll get Christian Watson in later in the season. But for this game, I look for, Jaden Reed, Dontavian Wicks, Romeo Doubs, the three veterans on the receiver squad to kind of lead the way, and then kind of trickle in Matthew Golden and see what he can do. So very exciting to see what happens on this Packers offense. Obviously, it comes down to, can we stop the rush? Can we protect Jordan Love? Can we keep Aiden Hutchinson off of him? And can we start opening some things up with the run game and play action? But for the Packers on the defense side of the ball, it's going to be a little bit hectic trying to cover Jahmyr Gibbs. This guy is flat out probably one of the top 5 running backs in the league already, and Jameson Williams can absolutely fly. So on the back end, we have X, who I feel super confident about. We have Evan Williams in his second year, Javon Bullard in his second year at safety, and kind of like that nickel spot. I like both of them. I really like what X has been doing with them, kind of teaching them, coaching them up, and I think they're going to be really good safeties in this league. The middle linebackers, like I talked about, Quay and Edgerrin Cooper. Cooper, I think, could be an all-pro type player. He really has all the tangibles to be great. And then Isaiah McDuffie plays well, and then we'll see what they can do on the edge with with obviously Rashawn Gary and Brenton Cox and who else do we got? Dontavian Wyatt, and then obviously Mike Parsons. And so the Packers are looking to try to get after Goff. This defensive line is going to have to step up. Obviously, last year, they just didn't have the rush game that we needed to. We didn't have the at pivotal moments in big games against the Vikings and the Lions when we really needed to get a pass rush. We just had none. So Lucas Van Ness, obviously, he's kind of on the hot seat. He's got to step up, first-round pick. He's got to start doing his thing. They actually said he was having a really good camp, and then they still went out and got Micah Parsons. So for the Packers, can we get pressure? Can Egbari get pressure? Can Brenton Cox get pressure? Cox has played so well when he's been in the game. Preseason, he played well. Even last year, at the end of the year, he had some moments. So I look for him to get some more minutes. Obviously, Micah and Rashawn Gary are going to be the guys that kind of take over on the end. But can we stop the run? I really have emphasis on, can Nazir Stackhouse step up and kind of be that guy? I think that's part of why they got rid of Kenny. Obviously, doing what they can to get Micah is a big deal, but they do have depth at the D tackle, so we'll see what happens. Obviously, Carl Brooks and Wooden are guys that have played well. Brooks blocked the field goal for the Bears last year to win the game for the Packers, and so these guys have made plays. Time to step up and get some more time, more minutes, and see if they can really contribute to this Packers defense. And then my biggest concern, not the defensive line, not the linebackers, not the safeties, are the corners right now. Obviously, we got rid of Jair Alexander. He's already hurt in Baltimore, so that's $4 million they wasted. He's probably not going to play. But anyway, we have Nate Hobbs. We got him from the Raiders, and he just is coming back from injury. We'll see how he is. They said he'll be okay. Kind of iffy on that. And then, obviously, Keyshawn Nixon. I like him a lot at corner. He just hasn't played a lot at, cornerback 1. So it'll be interesting to see if he can handle that cornerback 1, cornerback 2 going up against the other team's best receivers. And he's a guy who, obviously he's confident and he knows he's got ability and he's fast. He's a return man, so he's got makeup ability. So we'll see what he can do. I really like what he brings. And then Carrington Valentine, I feel like he's going to get a lot of minutes. A guy who's got long arms, rangy, tall, and played a lot of snaps in his rookie year and now in his second year last year. So I think he's a guy that can really kind of start elevating his game. So we'll see what he can do. But going up against Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta, I think I forgot about talking about him when I mentioned the offense for the Lions. He's a guy that can spread the field, obviously, kind of like a Tucker Kraft, a little bit bigger body, but a guy that can really play that tight end position well. He's a guy that was probably top 5, top 10 in the league for tight ends, and just kind of fizzled out last year. Not a big year, but I think he can bounce back this year. Might have been injured last year. So for the Packers, it's going to really come down to, like I said, blocking up front. It all starts in the trenches, offensive line, defensive line. And can this Micah Parsons trade really elevate this Packers defense and team to the next level? Super exciting to see. But go Pack, go. I guess that's it, guys. The Packers, 3:25 on Sunday. There's not a lot that I'm concerned about. Like I said, the cornerback position a little bit, but from top to bottom, we're pretty healthy. From top to bottom, our guys are ready. We had a talented team the last 2 years, even though we're the youngest team yet again, I believe, especially with the Kenny Clark trade. He was one of the older guys on the team, if not the oldest. So I think McManus might be older. But anyway, so for the Packers, can we get this W at Lambeau Field, Game 1, Week 1? It's going to be a good one. Lions are going to come in trying to punch us in the mouth again. Dan Campbell's going to go for it on 4th down every single time. And the Packers just have to withstand that and come back with their own power. Run the ball, set up play action, hit them deep with Golden, and set up the easy short touchdowns to Dobbs. So I'm excited. Everybody's pretty optimistic. I'm pretty sure there's probably 25 to 27 teams in the league that feel like they can win this year. A few teams, if they're realistic, probably know they won't win. I think they talked to the Titans GM and they kind of laughed like, our thoughts are, well, just play well this year. It was kind of funny. So go Pack, go. Let's get this W. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you guys next time. Packers 31, Lions 23. Go Pack, go.